All right, what's up, everybody? We are live here. It is a late night broadcast, and that's okay. I'm going to do a little bit of setup here, and then I will do some quick announcements and some introductions, and all the fun stuff that we get to do here in the live videos and the live Q&A and stuff like that. So let me finish setting everything up on my end here. All right, so that email is sent. And let me just share this stream here on a couple uh, locations here. I got some comments coming in already, which is good. Brett, you're on. That's awesome. Brett, what time is it there? That's what I'm wondering because I know that you are overseas as well. Comment. Let me know exactly where you're from or where you're viewing this at, and then what time that is. That's awesome that you're on. So, but yeah, so we got some comments coming in here, which is great. We've been doing these for a little bit now. I've had Eric Jones on here. I've had Justin Flom, a couple people from the Dark Cabaret, if you remember that one. And now my next guest, I am super, super excited about. Colin Cloud. I've had the pleasure of viewing his show a couple times, and it's everything you could ever imagine that show would be, based on anything that you've seen online, on AGT, all the places that you've seen him showcase and kind of perform his talents and skills here a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and bring him into this show. Looks like we have somebody here from Sioux Falls. Brett is watching too. Brett, where are you from? Brett's in the USA, Northwest Georgia. It's 10:30 there, so you're not too far away. So that's good. But yeah, keep your comments, keep your questions, everything coming. And same as I try to do in all of my live broadcast Q&A, I try to reward you guys for attending and give away something here in the end or within the next day or two. So without further ado, let's not keep him waiting. The guest of honor, Colin Cloud, everybody. So
hi, how are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. Thank you for spending some time with me.
Not at all. So, number one, let me say, I thought we were pre-recording a podcast, so I look like a freaking troll. So I look like I've been drop kicked out of the back of the My Chemical Romance tour bus, and this is what was left. So I apologize for. This is real life, though. You're getting the real Colin. That's what you signed up for. Yeah.
It's no different than your Instagram live videos where you're just lounging, and so it's fun.
I mean, even now doing the Zoom shows, and thank you first of all kindly for your comments there. Even, like doing Zoom shows, I'm like, what is the dress code with these? Do we wear a shirt and tie? Like, we're not turning up to. We're in our house, right? It's
right.
I've not yet fathomed what the actually Vegas has opened up a little bit. So I went shopping. My wife and I, Chloe, went shopping yesterday, and I went to Zara and I was like, actually, I'm going to start wearing this. This is much. I wear tweed suits normally on Zoom shows, and it is boil. I'm in Vegas.
You're right.
Tweed suits. So yeah, that has changed. So yeah. But you're getting the real me. That's what you're getting.
No, I like it. It makes it less formal, laid back and relaxed. So we can just have fun.
Exactly.
Speaking of your show that you're doing, I actually watched a trailer just recently that you had put out on your Cyber show, and talking about what people wear. I seen there's a thumbnail of somebody's feed, and they were just pretty much wearing a blanket.
Yeah. And listen, I gladly tear into people who are wearing. I mean, that is the beauty. Like any magician watching here, if you're performing on Zoom, the biggest thing you can do, your tricks need to be amazing and fooling and engaging, but really make people feel like you're present and like really pay attention to people and what they're wearing and what they're doing. And if someone's dog, wow, a real verbal dyslexic moment. If a dog jumps up onto the sofa, onto them, like address it, talk about it, make it part of it, because that would never happen in a theater, and it's happening in their home, and it's hilarious. So like,
right,
use all that stuff. Like I think that's what makes it for people feel like real, and that's. The real magical moments come from those interactions. So like being able to see people and what's happening in their homes, like take full advantage of that.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's great advice. And, that's something I do want to talk about here very soon is, kind of that transition you had to make to go from a live Vegas show to what you're doing now. And so you were actually just, to highlight that a little bit, you were just actually voted or nominated or proclaimed as the best mentalist show or best
No, best magic and mentalism show. Number one.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
And by the way, now here's the thing. I'm someone who in life I'm like when I want to be motivated, I am very motivated to like strive to be the best at something. Is like I don't mean it to sound arrogant because I'm not always the best at everything, but my mindset is to try and be the best at everything I put my mind to. Like, why would you not strive for that? Like, it's just in my head ridiculous. Always strive to be the best. And if you aim up there, like if you aim low to begin with and you get like there, then whatever. But if you're aiming up here and you get like there, I mean, that's way better than aiming low. So in my entire life, I've always aimed high. But I also am not an idiot, and I knew that going into this, I didn't know anything about so right now we're not using the lighting and cameras that I use for the show, just so that the broadcast is much clearer here, because I know StreamYard can sometimes be temperamental. So I'm using just a laptop camera, but when I wanted to put on the show, I knew that it had to be basically TV studio quality. So I spoke to the people that I knew who knew all about that world and how to operate this. And I learned from them immensely in the beginning. So I really owe a lot to them, to people like Luke Dancy, to Rand Pink, who told me what lights to get, what camera lenses, how to set, like what an f-stop is, an ISO, like all this stuff that 3 months ago, I did not care about any of this. And now, like I'm filming a bunch of stuff, and it's thankfully, thanks to them, it's great.
Yeah. Speaking of Luke, just the videos he does on his Murphy's page, like the unplugged stuff, like the lighting, the quality. I mean, it's cinematic and it's live, and it's crazy to have a cinematic.
He's the man. He's the nicest guy. He knew my wife Chloe because she's been in Vegas for a while. And she introduced me to him when he came to see the show with Shin. And I knew the name, but I'd never met him. And he is honestly one of the nicest, most authentic guys on the planet. Like even Rand Pink as well. These guys just are so giving of their expertise. And I'm super grateful to both of them.
Yeah. I've had a little bit of conversation with Rand, just a little bit, because I had purchased something from him that had become a little bit defective. And I'm like, hey, I bought it used. And I'm like, I don't expect anything for free here. I'm just looking for a little bit of advice. He's like, no, let me send you a brand new one. And I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. He's so lovely. Yeah, I love it. I'm very lucky that I'm surrounded by great people and good energy. And yeah, I'm a lucky boy.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about you. I want to learn about you. So where the whole the Sherlock Holmes kind of thing mentality came from, and the idea, and what made you kind of fall in love with that idea and kind of go with it. Like, what was your inspiration? Like, where did that start?
So yeah, I mean, genuinely as a kid, I loved Sherlock from like a very young age. Even early like newspaper, media articles on me, I would talk about this. And it's not something that I just came up with because Sherlock was popular again. I've always loved the character. In fact, even like in isolation, Chloe and I have been watching Hercule Poirot episodes as well, because as much as I read some of the books, I'd never watched David Suchet play him. And, that's been great. But I think for anyone watching this, people that want to perform magic in any capacity, I think having people, influences outside of magic that you can model your dream persona on is super important. Because if we get locked into performing, the card tricks the way Michael Amar did them on L&L, it's then like we're all just clones of that, and like that's no good to anyone. So I really believe that finding your inspirations outside of just magic, looking at, like, I love comedy, I love geeky things like Doctor Who, I love Sherlock, like I draw on all this stuff, and I love watching rock concerts. I've been to see Green Day, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blink-182 a million times. Like I love that energy, so I draw from all of those inspirations into the way that I present the magic, the mentalism that I love performing. And I think that's like so key for anyone that wants to stand out. Stop watching magicians, start watching all these other amazing performers, speakers, entertainers, draw from that, and you will start to define what it is you do in a completely unique way.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice. I almost borderline want to say that this Sherlock Holmes persona that you have, you pretty much live that, don't you? Like on and off stage almost.
The Sherlock stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not taking heroin the same way every day that he was. I know I'm Scottish, but let's not stereotype. No, I mean, my genuine background, I studied forensic investigation at university. I went when I was 15. I specialized in criminal profiling. That is all absolutely true. Since I left university, the only thing I've really done with the profiling stuff is I was a speaker for a number of years, and I gave talks in schools to students who were about to sit exams and looking at psychological, the mindset, the motivation, study skills, how to memorize things very quickly, very effectively.
Yeah.
All that was done through like stand-up comedy, and like I would give talks to 6 hours for 6 hours to like 100 students who are like 16 years old, and to engage people for that long at that age was insane, especially when I'm not doing tricks or stuff. So I really learned how to perform and connect with people doing that. But all the while I was telling them, you need to, in life, essentially find the thing that you want to do and like make sure you go after that thing. Otherwise, what's the point? And I got to the stage where I realized I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I'm telling them one thing, and the thing I really want to do is, I want to go do a show on the West End, Broadway, Vegas, and I'm not doing it yet. And I basically handed him, even though I was one of the owners of the company by that point, we led a management buyout. I basically said, I can't do this anymore. So, I sold my shares in the company. I took a risk and I left. And thankfully, since then, have performed on the West End, Broadway, now in Las Vegas. So, but yeah, I'm very much a believer that if you've got your mindset on the thing that you want to do and the thing that you genuinely want to achieve, surround yourself by the people who can give you the right feedback, criticism for the right reasons to improve, to mold and shape yourself into a place where you're ready to go after that thing.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I've followed you as a performer for a very long time, like the things you've released and the things you've created. And even looking back, I can see that evolution of kind of who you've kind of modernized to a little bit, I guess would be the term. And it's really, really cool to see that, and actually a little bit of a name change here and there too. And so that was cool. I think the time that I truly figured out who you were and like how powerful your performance was, I actually got to see you do your illusionist show when you guys were traveling that. And so that was really, really cool to see. So how did you get set up with that? Like what was that experience like?
So basically I wanted to be in the illusionist. I knew of it and I emailed them to say, hey, I'm Colin, I do this stuff. I'm a mentalist. And they said, oh, listen, we've tried talking acts. They don't really work for us, but thank you. So I went, okay, cool. Here's a video of my act anyway, just in case you ever change your mind. And within a day, they emailed back saying, was that luck? Or like, do you have any other videos? And I sent them, I still do film every live show that I do. Maybe not so much in the Mirage because they film it on the cameras there anyway. So I don't need to set up my GoPro, but I would set up my GoPro everywhere. And I basically sent them links to 10 videos of the exact same act, getting pretty much the exact same response, maybe like extra ad libs here and there, depending on the people. And they said, be in London in 3 weeks. Can you come down and meet us? And I went to London to meet them. And they said, look, we love your acts. We want them both in the show. And can you host the show on the West End for us? And it was just like, oh my God. I think when people hear mentalism, sometimes a lot of mentalists, it's a lot of procedure. And it can be drawn out for very little payoff. And I think my approach, I've been friends with Shin for years. I've always admired the number of magical moments within every act he does. So I applied that same model to my own mentalism. So the main routine that you'll have seen me do, which was my deduction act, which I'm going to take out of the Vegas show for a while, just because of like social distancing and stuff. I'm changing the material there for when we go back. But that is my main act. Every good idea I've ever had and held on to is in that act. And this, I will probably never release that act because it is like my, that is my crowning jewel. However, so like I was saying, I put all this stuff in there. So the number of reveals in that, so it doesn't just feel like 20 minutes of build up for one payoff. It's literally, I look at it, my friend David Gerard has termed it machine gun mentalism, in that there's literally reveal after reveal after, you're just hitting the audience over and over again with this stuff. And that's very much my approach. It's high energy. There's the comedy. It feels, I hope, like I'm very much present. I'm engaging the audience. The last thing I'm thinking about when I'm on stage is the trick. Like I know that those routines inside out, that's the last thing I'm thinking about. It's all about the people and making it feel real and present. And that's the most important thing.
That's super cool. So how do you go about actually converting your mentalism so it's not the traditional one? Like, I know you pull inspiration from other people and stuff like that, other actors and performers, But I've heard some people call a mentalism show an envelope show because that is the reveal. They have the predictions, they're pulling it from somewhere that's been in plain sight the entire time. But yours, when I watched both of them in live show and online, it was very organic every time. Like it felt like a different reveal. Like it didn't feel like, oh, okay, so there's another prediction coming up. It just felt in the moment.
Yeah, I think if most mind readers could really read minds, they would know at what points the audience are bored, lose interest, think they know what's going to happen, and know that they get ahead, so there's no surprise. And if you could really read minds, you would fix it and you would do something about it. So I think I'm just very honest with myself and with the art form, and I just know what people are going to see right through, what's going to bore them, what's going to be repetitive, and I just try and dispel all of that up front. And comedians are great. Comedians are great at like killing the elephants in the room, and they just address it. And I think more of us could be better with our material at just like being that brutal with it, not for negative reasons, but so that you ultimately make it stronger. So I think when I design anything, I have certain parameters that I work from, certain concepts that I will not repeat, like I think of my show in Polaroid photos, and there are moments that I never want to look the same, and like I try and make it all look and feel very different. So yeah, I don't think I use any envelope. Like I hate envelopes. Like there are some routines that I see done well with, like Bob Cassidy. His fourth dimensional routine is phenomenal. It's one of the best mentalism routines on the planet. But I've just never really been drawn to envelopes. I just feel like the stuff is better without that. Yeah, it's my opinion. But I get why people think that. And that is a visual that I never wanted to be associated with. So I do my best to eliminate that. If I do predict something, I try and make it a physical thing, which on Zoom can be a little trickier when you're still trying to engage everyone. So I have had to make some concessions that in real life I wouldn't do, but at the moment I'm still trying to do a show that is, in my own way, connecting with as many people as possible. So I've had to rely on some things that I maybe wouldn't normally like to. And as I learn how to operate this medium more and more, I'll phase those things out, and it will become, even more unique and more original. But at the moment, still, I'm very grateful that the feedback, from the people has, Jeff McBride's Mystery School, Adam Shire, the man who invented Siri, no less. He has watched 50 hours of virtual magic shows and has very kindly said, that this was number one in his opinion, which is a delight. And obviously the show, I say it's produced by Chloe Crawford, my wife. Obviously with social distancing, I can't bring anyone else in. So Chloe has very kindly agreed to help with the show. So this show, in my opinion, is as much her show as it is my show. So when people give me feedback that's positive, it's very much for both of us. So I'm blown away. The feedback has been that good. Like I really, again, aim to make everything I do the best in the world. That is the goal. Like for all of us, that should be the goal. I'm not saying me alone, but yeah, I'm just delighted that I have hit the right chords. And every time I do it, like, my notes already this week, this is from last week's show, like I'm constantly writing and changing and trying to improve so I'll watch the video back and be like, what should I have done there or said there, or what would have made that stronger, more amazing, more surprising, because we know from Joshua J that surprise is so important. And in mentalism that's often lacking. But I'm learning quickly. And I'll announce here, this is only friends know this, but for the past couple of weeks I have been working on a new download teaching people how to take the concepts that I have discovered, created, tweaked, and learned for Zoom to enhance magic, to create impossible magical moments. And I'm going to be releasing that over the next couple of days, because I really think there's real like I could sit and hold on to these and like just never tell anyone. But I think there's real benefit from people knowing at the moment how to take the stuff they're doing and make it more amazing. And I'm going to share, all that stuff with everyone. And I do think that as much as I know when Shin and I are going back to the Mirage, and as I'm getting corporate bookings now for the coming months, which is like, in my head feels way too soon, but safe to do so. And, and I mean that if it is safe to do so and it gets the economy back on track, then that's an amazing and wonderful thing that gives us all hope and, light at the end of the tunnel. But I do think Zoom shows will always be a thing now.
I agree.
They are 100% of entertainment at the moment. It will always be 5%, even when there's a vaccine. Now that companies know this is an option, it will always be a thing. So I think to share the best practice and the techniques, I think it's going to benefit everyone, not just in the moment, but I think for years to come.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree completely. Everything it's weird because as a performer, early on you rely on like all the little shows, like the post prom shows and all the little corporate shows and the holiday parties. And for me and a bunch of my other performing friends, that just got swept away like overnight. And so to be able to quickly evolve as you have, I mean, that's impressive to do. And I'm still kind of racking my brain a little bit.
Well, just so you know, like I'll be very honest with you and tell you that Shin and I were on tour. We were in Milwaukee, I think, and the country basically ground to a halt. Like we got warned before we flew out. We were doing shows Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Chicago. We were warned Chicago might get canceled, but the other two will happen. And then one of the other ones got canceled. And Shin and I we ordered like, it felt like an apocalypse movie. Like we know it's now not like for the right reasons. Yes, we all need to be careful. Like for society, yes. But like we were looking outside and the streets were just like from one day being pretty busy to dead. And our wives were with us and we're in like either mine or his hotel suite and we ordered Indian food and we're just like, what is happening? What is going to happen? What is trying to fathom it? And I'll be honest and say I came home for 2 days, like depressed is a big word. So I don't quite think I was there, but I genuinely sat on the sofa for 2 days, stressing, panicking, like feeling sick, thinking I've just moved to Vegas and this is all now stopping. What do we do?
Yeah.
So for anyone else watching this who has been feeling really stressed or down about this, like I think it's fair to say that is natural, normal, and you need to remind yourself that you're not alone in this. It's everyone. But there is light now at the end of the tunnel. And I think the key thing here is to have the ability to adapt and to start thinking about what can I do to make sure that, when people are booking again, what can I do to show them that I'm the right act, I'm the safe act, the stuff I do is gonna, it's basically that is the big thing. People are going to want to feel safe. And as long as you can do that and show people that you're able to do that, then you're going to start working again very, very quickly. And, I'm in Vegas, people here, Chloe and I, like I said, we were out shopping yesterday. The shops are opening up. They're only letting in a certain number of people. So it's great to see the world taking the right steps to get it back on track. It's great to now know that Vegas, I looked at yesterday at the MGM site, Copperfield goes back to do shows on July 15th. That may change. But at the moment, that's 2 weeks away and there's live entertainment again. That is amazing. And as long as it's safe and people are not getting ill because of this, then I am delighted to see this get back on its feet.
Yeah. And I think the entertainment side of it, I mean, there's the casinos and stuff what people consider entertainment, but the actual live entertainment, I think is so important just for people's sanity. I mean, they need to be able to get out and actually just breathe.
Yeah.
Be able to do that, and even just virtually is great.
Yeah, I mean, the Times newspaper unfortunately said that, they said essential workforces are things like doctors and supermarkets, and I couldn't agree more. That is the number one job in the world, with teachers and police and all these things are so important. Absolutely. But then I had a list of unessential work, and number one was arts and entertainment. And to see that that's like considered the number one least important thing when everyone is going to Netflix, they're downloading theater productions and it's the thing that is keeping them sane and connected to reality. That was a little heartbreaking. So it was really sad to see that. But seeing then the success that Zoom shows are having across the board, I couldn't. It's not that I'm not disagreeing that nurses and doctors are not the most important job on the planet. Like I get it, but it is then just a little heartbreaking to be told, and your thing is the least important. And it's like, well, I don't know because I just disagree with that. Like it's not that anything should be considered unimportant, but I do see that the entertainment world is coming back, and I do believe it will come back stronger now that people want to do more and more things.
Yeah. And, I was speaking with Eric Jones not long ago on here, and he works does a lot of shows for Disney. And he said Disney has officially ruled when he goes back that he's not allowed to hand the audience any props, and they're not allowed to come on stage until they see fit. So he has to come up with a show that doesn't involve any of that hands-on. And so for him to because he does a lot of close-up coins, stuff like that. And he's like, I can't give my props to the audience for them to validate that they're just normal. He's like, so now I have to rework the entire show.
What a great position to be in. You can just say, by the way, these are normal coins. And any other day, I would have given you them to examine. Unfortunately, I can't. And she
Right.
ran him through a 5 flipper coin routine. Life just got great for Eric. He's never going to be any lazier. Jeez. I'll be honest and say that we've not had those guidelines yet. However,
Mhm.
she and I have been meeting up every couple of weeks. When we meet up, we're the only people who, like, I only see him and he sees me, and that's like it. So social distance wise, we've been safe. And after we see each other, we take 10 days to just be apart and we'll chat. But we are working on the show, and as much as we were not given any guidelines, we've just imagined, how can we do the show where no physical contact is made? Which is why I've retired for a short time my Deduction Act. I've come up with a whole new load of stuff. And Zoom has been great for testing some of that, actually. So
Yeah.
that's been good practice to get me in the right state and the right frame of mind to go back and have material that's as strong as what I was doing before, but is considered socially distant safe, or, you know.
Sure.
So yes. But I also know performers around the world, in Hong Kong, in other cities, who have had close-up shows and they've had props, and people have had hand sanitizer. They've cleaned their hands before the routine, and then they've happily handled the coins and stuff as well. So
Yeah.
I think the big thing is it's going to depend on, well, one, the government. Well, no, sorry, one is going to be, you know, Anthony Fauci and what he says. And number one is, you know, that's like the most important. But really, it is the health experts and what they say. Then it will be state by state government laws, of course. Then it will be people's individual comfort levels. And I think we just need to be very respectful, and we keep, you know, Purell wipes or Purell alcohol, you know, with us, and we're good to go. Like, for the most part, I think we just need to be ready for, well, I always prepare for the worst case scenario, and anything better than that is a bonus. So, but right now, the feedback I'm getting from people on the, you know, in the trenches is that people were fine. Like, maybe one person was like, "Oh, I'd rather not," and they were like, "That's cool. Would you do it?" And they're like, "Yeah." So easy, done. Yeah, we will see. Time will tell. And again, as long as it's safe, then I have no qualms with it.
Sure, absolutely. I want to go back to that thing that you said about how you view your show almost like in Polaroid photos, how it's step by step. Because you said that when you as a performer and any performer should know when the audience, you know, starts to lose interest or get bored with what you're doing. Have you done this process to where it's almost forced you to recognize that something needed to change, and it caused you to create a new method to do that?
Never really a new method. Like, I'm very good at like coming up with methods that I think are fooling, and some of the stuff I do, I'm delighted have fooled magicians in the past that watch the show, and they think they know some mentalism stuff, which goes against them, because I just think of stuff in weird ways. Like, people after this want to go watch my Instagram videos. Like, I came up with a card routine where the card vanishes from someone's deck in their own home, thousands of miles away, and reappears somewhere else in their house. Like, that's the type of stuff that my brain just loves coming up with. And that's not to fool magicians, but it's to create really amazingly powerful, astonishing, magical moments. Like, that's what we should all strive for. Now, my persona of Sherlock in real life would never do stuff like that because it doesn't fit that character. But I still enjoy creating it. I still enjoy thinking about it. But no, I think I'm more presentation driven. So, like, I know what methods are going to fool. And that's like entry level. That's like rung one on the ladder is it needs to be fooling. And then two is, you know, what's the presentation that makes it compelling, engaging, different? And if some of that stuff doesn't get the reaction that I want, like, one thing that I will never do again, I'm sure, is lick someone's hand. I did it on America's Got Talent. I licked Mel B's hand, told her what she had eaten that day, and I've done it on stage ever since. You know, I lick someone's hand, tell them what pets they have, what they've eaten. But now after this, I doubt I'll ever, you know, lick someone's hand ever again.
Right.
That's a presentational bit that came, and immediately after, I always gave them a Purell wipe anyway. So in March, you know, we've got boxes and boxes of Purell wipes here, which is giving them away literally to hospitals all over the place. But it's something I've always done, and it's a hilarious moment, and it's visual, and it's a Polaroid moment that will be remembered.
Yeah.
But if it didn't get the reaction that I wanted, then I would have dropped it right away and changed it for something else. But no, I'm more interested in, look, the best methods have been created, right? Anyone watching this, go buy the classics. Like, I see in the background there, you've got the classic books on magic. That's what you need. Go buy them. The best methods have been created. What you need to learn to do now is how to twist them, like I've been doing for the last 3 months for Zoom, is how do you take those methods and twist them presentationally to fit a new platform?
Yeah.
But the best methods are out there. Twisting them to fit certain performing platforms is crucial, and then finding the way that you want to present them in a way that's authentic to you, meaningful perhaps to you or the audience, and finding ways to connect with them so that you're not hiding behind the magic, you're engaging people with the magic, and it's they're two different things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's super cool. A matter of fact, one of the first things that I think it was your opening piece that you did in the Illusionist show, and I don't know if you rotated out that or not when you performed.
No. And that is like Justin Willman and I have a bond where he and I do that routine, and we've very much tried to keep that to ourselves. So don't.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to give anything away. I'm not going to say anything. But as soon as I seen it, I was like, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. Like I knew what happened, and I was like, okay, where's this going? And then as soon as it happened, I was like, I've never seen it done that way. It was amazing. It was
it's funny. Thank you. So, and by the way, I know people are here and commenting. Like, if you want to ask me questions, like I do see the questions pop up on my screen. So please ask anything as well that you want to know. But yeah, Willman and I both came up with it independently, and then over the last few years, we've kept in touch with each other with just things that we found that improve it. And yeah, no, I like to think about weird. Yeah, I just love thinking in weird ways, and I'm just like, what is a surprising moment, and what are people not expecting? So yeah, that's where my head's at with this stuff, and it's just like I just love taking the classics and really what I'm good at is composing ideas and basically finding methods and weaving them together in weird ways. To create these moments of surprise and shock and awe. And anyone can do it. You just need to really take a deep dive into these classics, and you'll find them, and you'll find your own ways of connecting the dots.
Yeah. No, I'll be honest. When, like I said, I love that routine that you had done to open up, but it also set the stage of me wanting more. And I think that was one of the most important things. So every time that you came out, it's like, yes, like, what is it this time? What is it this time? And you instantly became my favorite performer in that entire show. It was very,
you're very kind. You're very, very kind. There are lots of great performers there. And I think everyone has, their favorite for different reasons, but no,
yeah.
So thank you.
I think the reason why, and I'll admit this, is that I think your approach of it and presentation was so much more fresh than anything else I had seen.
Good. So, and I think really the presentation it's just me sharing my personality with the audience and connecting with them. Like, it's really, ironically, a lack of presentation. I mean, I obviously have the backbone that I work off of, but I just really love, I know my stuff, and I don't mean this to be arrogant. I've just done it enough to know that my stuff is going to blow the minds of the audience. So it's like, that's a given. So how can we then get the most out of this person, the volunteer, so that they shine in the moment? And I just love creating this experience for them, for the audience, that just feels like that is the only time it's ever going to happen that exact way, because the reality is it is the only time it's going to happen that exact way.
Yeah. And what you said about how that's honestly just it's lack of presentation because it's yourself, but that's what makes it feel genuine and makes it feel real.
Good.
Yeah, you're not a character. I mean, you are a character on stage, but I mean, you're not so far.
It's not funny. Like, so many people come up to me at the end and they're like, "You're hilarious," and I'm just like, I'm honest. That is really
Yeah. So I'll go back to the thing you said you're going to be releasing soon. Where can people find that? Because I do have a couple people asking about stuff.
Yeah, so this is the first place I've announced it. Like, I've sent it to my friends to like critique it and make sure that it makes sense, and that like the methods that I'm teaching, that they are like relevant and can be applied across the board. And I really believe that they can. And if you look at my Instagram, you'll see the types of stuff. It's more magic than I would normally have done, but I've kept it like that because I think it will then appeal to more people. More people will get the use out of it, more magicians and mentalists as well, so that they see how I've taken these concepts. But I have a website. I'll put it in the chat if I find. Am I able to leave a comment? I don't think I can leave a comment. I don't know why. Oh, usually I used to work StreamYard all the time, and I switched to Zoom. And I will. I'll type it, or I'll send it to yourself. But it's psych, PSYCH -artist, as you would say it, .com/store STORE.
All right. Does that look right? I just put the comment.
Psych artist. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll click on it and I'll see. I think so. That looks right. I'm just copying and pasting because I don't want to be giving any bad information. But you'll see there's a password there. It's very cryptic. But yeah, it has all the information on it there. But really, I haven't released a lot of stuff over the years. 10 years ago, oh, thank you, that is perfect. But 10 years ago, I released a set of DVDs with Alakazam, and that kind of snowballed, and I released a couple of books. A lot of that stuff is kind of like out of print. I'll be honest, if anyone's watching this and you want to learn my stuff effectively, like I have a Penguin lecture, if you don't mind me mentioning that, just like cost-wise.
No, definitely plug all your stuff right now.
I don't think I get any money off of that, but like just if people like, just if you want to learn stuff quickly, like there's that. Recently, I put out a full set of downloads on the website that you've just put up there, the Psych Artist one. And that's like 4 of the routines that I have used for the Royal Variety Show, which was for Prince William and Kate Middleton, for America's Got Talent, stuff that I've done that I do at the Magic Castle when it's like more intimate sets, and stuff that I do in my virtual shows. So every download is like something completely different. And I've really tried to do a deep dive on those techniques. But the new thing that's coming out later tonight or tomorrow is called Cyber Secrets. And it's basically taking a bunch of principles that I don't know of anyone else using these, that I've discovered that really only will ever work on virtual shows or across FaceTime video with someone, and how to really use those to perform the types of stuff that you see on that I do on Instagram. So yeah, you can check it out there. You can ask me questions, but I don't want to make this a freaking pitch. I want to make this like answering questions, because people are, like if you want to buy it, amazing. If you don't, all good. Like you're investing your time right now. So thank you for being here and watching this. And like, if I can answer anything now, then please, by all means, I can see the comments. Like,
yeah, and I'll post the comments to anything that comes up. But on the topic of you having things for sale, though, like you said, the Penguin thing, you're not sure if you get any royalties or anything from that. If you guys are looking to buy something, it's weird for me to say this because I own a magic shop, but support the artist. Try to buy directly from the artist.
You're very kind. Someone said there about how you know the right time to release something. David asked that. And it's funny, right? There are some things I'll never release. There's some things that I release to a point where I'm like, look, that will never really be a finished product, but it's at a place where someone can take it and they'll apply it in the many different directions that it can go in. So for example, my coin in hand presentation that I did on America's Got Talent, you can predict anything with that. So that was at a point where, I mean, I'm performing this stuff in front of thousands of people a night, tens, hundreds, maybe thousands of people a year. When it's good enough for me to perform it at that level, and I've just done it enough where I feel like, look, it's now ready for other people to enjoy, then that's the time. Like the stuff for Zoom, I have now done it for the past 3 months. And I now know that some people are struggling to think about how do they evolve past just doing the invisible deck on Zoom and get strong reactions. So it's like, I'm going to show you everything that I've come up with. And if you do want to really look at creating miracles, then now's the time for people to be learning this stuff, because it's relevant. And like I said, it will always be. But the right time to release something, I do find it a little bit disturbing when you see some people who come up with an idea in the afternoon and then it's already a PDF with grammar and typo errors by... I mean, fair play to that person. If they've got an original idea and they want to share it, then, I'm grateful for that. But I think sometimes it's worth... You need to have done this stuff at least a bunch of times for real people. And with everything that I've put out recently, you see the development of all the routines with real audiences. You see the troubles that I had with it, how I fine-tuned it, tweaked it, perfected it. So you see the journey as well. And I think unless you've got a journey with a piece of material that you're releasing, then it's not ready to release yet. You need to have that real world experience. And that's when you know it's ready.
Yeah. I know. I remember when I was younger, starting out in Magic, and I'd purchase something, a video download or whatever, and somebody would give the history on it, and they said, this has been in the works for 7 years now, and I'm happy it's ready. And I'm like, it took you 7 years? But it only took, maybe a few months to figure it out. But then those years of perfecting it to where they felt it was ready. Like,
for example, the best routine that you can buy in the world, there's three of my favorite routines of all time. Well, 4 that you can purchase. The best routine on the planet, in my opinion, is Paul Daniels. Say that again?
Oh, yep. Nope.
Sorry. Yeah, there we go. My favorite routine in the world, genuinely, is Paul Daniels' electric chairs. Because for years, I had no idea how he did that. I got to see him perform it live maybe 20 times in his life. And because of the Edinburgh Festival, shows in London, Paul Daniels' electric chairs is a masterclass in audience management. And because I love comedy so much, that for me is just perfect. So anyone here, go to YouTube after this, type in Paul Daniels electric chairs. It's amazing. And the chairs are any chairs. They're not like electrically, shocking these people. My second favorite routine of all time is it's by a guy, you might not know him. He's up and coming. He's called Shin Lim. It's called the Dream Act. I just think the thinking on that is just phenomenal. It's amazing. And what's interesting is that he had actually seen my DVDs that I released years ago where I talk about dual reality and stuff, and the way that has impacted his thinking, the way his thinking has impacted my thinking. It's amazing that our lives are intertwined, more so now than ever, of course, but like the journey to get here. So Shin Lim, Dream Act. And then number 3 is split between 2 because I've watched them both close the Illusionist show with it. And one is David Williamson's Rocky Raccoon, where he brings the 4 kids onto the stage. And the other is Jeff Hobson's Egg Bag.
Yes.
The routines are just master classes in taking something so simple. And if any magician thinks that, that it's all about those 2, Jeff and David, are some of the most proficient practitioners of sleight of hand magic on the planet. But those routines prove that unless you have the connection with the audience, then no one cares. Like, they've taken the simplest of things, the things that we would probably all have dismissed in the magic shop, the egg bag and the raccoon, and the thing that's allowed them to travel the world and, make a living. So the next time you're in a real magic shop like yourself, like the thing I love doing at Blackpool when I go to the convention, like when all the new releases come out, I love asking people, what's the oldest thing you have here? Because I love knowing what's the thing that no one's going to buy. I want that, and I want to take it, and I want to work it up into something. So like when people actually get into your shop, I love knowing what has no one bought for like 5 months. And like really look at it and examine it and take a deep dive on it and look at how you can turn it into something that is genuinely stunning.
Yeah, come in and buy all my old stuff, everybody, please. Let me get more stuff in here.
Absolutely, yeah. But like, here's the thing: if you want to be famous, which has never really been a goal for me, like I think there's a big difference between fame and respected. Being famous and being respected. And I would much rather be respected for what it is I do. And that's what I strive for above all else. But if you do want to be respected for anything or famous, you can't just be doing the stuff everyone else is doing. Like if all you're doing in real life is invisible deck and double cross, yes, those are great and amazing, and French kiss. They're amazing routines, but they're so good, and everyone's doing them. So you're never going to make a name for yourself or stand out doing those routines. Certainly not doing them in the same way that everyone else does them. If you're going to do them, you need to flip it on its head entirely. So like, that's why when you go into a magic shop, I love knowing what people haven't bought, because that's the thing that I'm going to take and play with and work into something that is very unique to me.
Yeah. To go on that line of famous and respected, I think, for me, Eugene Berger, that's one of the respected people. Like if you're not a magician, you're not going to know the name. You're not. And that is somebody that everybody should know. I'm trying to convince my wife to read the Teaching Magic book, and she's not into magic at all. But there's so many like good principles in there that you can apply to just about anything.
Yeah. I only had the fortune of meeting him once and spending time with him once, but he was just a joy. A true artist when it, from the philosophical point of view and just the respect and the artistry for everything here. It's he was someone that we can all still thankfully still learn a lot from.
And Larry Haas still putting out all of his books. That's pretty amazing too. Beyond the Grave.
Interesting. Brett just posted a comment saying Matt King wrote routine is a fave, simple trick, even though I know how it's done. And this is the thing, right? Even if you know how it's done, that's the least important part. Like, we're magicians, we should know. Ideally, lay people don't know how it's done. But like, even if you know how the trick's done, it's not about the method. Like, and the other thing as well, what I do hate is when a lay person says to a magician, "Oh, I know how you did that." Like, knowing how someone did it and being able to do it are two very different things. And if you're in a position when you perform magic where it's so confrontational that the person at the end wants to say, "I know how you did that," then you haven't connected with them in the right way. The experience that you've given them hasn't been a fully fulfilled one in a magical context. Because if it is that, butting heads where they feel like they've had to try and work it out, then that's the wrong approach. And I would encourage you from a respectful place to re-examine how you're presenting that. But yeah, from a magician point of view, most of I'm not saying everything I do fools every magician, but I don't care if it does or not. Like, yes, you should know probably how I do some of this stuff. I'd hope that you're interested in it, but it's ultimately about how we use that to connect with and engage people in the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the idea of being able to fool somebody with it, and them saying that they know how this trick has worked, and you should make it your own. I actually taught a class in here not just too long ago, just a couple of days ago for kids, and I was getting ready to do Professor's Nightmare, and of course I pulled out the first rope, and one of the kids was like, "I've seen this before," and of course it's a class, it's not a formal presentation or a show, so I'm just like, not the way I've done it, trust me. And so I'm like, let me show you. And it's still the same trick, but when I was done, she's like, okay, I haven't seen that before. And I'm like, that's what matters right there. Like, figure out. And I went through a whole workshop with them, how to create a trick to make their own personality in it. And I think that's very
of course. And the questions come up there. What if the person you're doing the trick to is a complete heckler? I would add heckler / asshole. And I get these, by the way. Like, I don't do close up really. Like, never have I really done. Like, my smallest audiences are usually like in the hundreds for corporate events as well. So I am now in a place where I don't get heckled much. And that's because when I walk on stage, like, I'm so used to walking on stage and owning it from the word go. Like, I just don't give the audience a chance to try. And I make it very clear immediately that if they want to try and butt heads with me, I am going to tear them apart. And that's because I do come from a comedy background as well. So I am very, like, I think, good at holding my own. There is a balance. Like, for anyone watching right now, if you are being heckled, the one thing I have learned over the years is don't heckle too strongly, too quickly, because if you do, you turn the audience against you as well for being too harsh. What you need to do, annoyingly, is let the heckler get to the point where they're annoying everyone else as well. And then when you pass that threshold and you then deliver your comeback, the audience will be totally on your team. They'll agree and they'll applaud the way that you've responded to it, and that will shut the person up because the person now knows they are massively outnumbered.
Yeah.
Heckled though, and someone says something hilarious and it's like really funny. Like, sometimes I just laugh with it as well. Like, if someone says something that's really freaking funny, that's gold. And like, I'll be saying it myself tomorrow night, or a version of it. I'll learn from that. But there's two types of heckling. One is people want to be involved, to be a part of the experience in a positive way, and the other tends to be the obnoxious person who, for some reason, takes it as an insult to them that you're trying to challenge how intellectual they are, and they're offended by you, at which point I would literally just say what I've just said. I would crouch down on my knees at the front of the stage, look them right in the eye and go, are you taking this as an intellectual challenge to who you are? And I would just say all this stuff and be like, well, luckily for you, this is your intervention. Welcome to group. And I would just start spouting whatever at the person. Like, I would go at them because I just know, again, my material is strong. People are going to be wowed by that. That is, thankfully, over years of dying on stage and learning how to recover. The wow factor is now a given. So everything else is now about creating that experience. And if someone wants to try and heckle me, bring it on, because you're going to add to that moment, because you're going to embarrass yourself ultimately, and you're going to make me look, even more impressive, thankfully, because I'm now able to respond and play with that. And I'll never try and make someone look bad unless they really, really are drunk
asking for it.
Like the one time I had someone really heckle. I had a 5-pack. This was in Glasgow at Wild Cabaret, and I had someone heckle me over and over and over again. And I basically stopped and I said, "Look, you're clearly a skeptic. So here's what we'll do. I've got a £5 note here. Take this Sharpie, sign your name on it. You've got 10 minutes to go hide that anywhere in Glasgow, and by the time you get back, it's going to have reappeared in that glass. 10 minutes, go." And they left to hide it, and I carried on with the show, knowing that I only had like 5 minutes left. So at the end, at the end of the act, that person wasn't back yet, and I went to finish, sent the last participant back from the audience, back to the audience, and I said, and those of you wondering about that £5 note, let me just say, that was the best fiver I've ever spent. I've been caught. Everyone just burst out laughing. Like, I literally just paid for that spectator, that heckler to leave. So, but that was like 8 years ago now, and it's never been that bad, thankfully, ever since that. Right. So yeah, it's I'm very lucky. But close up, if someone was just being really obnoxious, I would just be like, I would not perform to that person, or I would try and take them under the wing and be like, I'd be more like, you're clearly a smart person, right? So you see the world the way that I do. So like, watch this, and I would get them on board. That's attempt number And if that failed, then like whatever, I'll move on to the next group type thing is the truth. Yeah. I am reading some of these as well because like obviously I can talk all day, but like I want to actually give people value for this time. And again, thank you for watching this. So if there's stuff you want to know, like ask, and I'll do the best I can to give you the right answer. From my experience, for someone just starting out, let's say a year or less, one try to show us great business. Business, like anything, I like getting up and running with anything, obviously, is a risk. And I always recommend transitioning into something. So like even with material, I don't just stop doing something and start something new. Like I evolve it. And I think if you want to transition out of whatever career you're in right now and move into that, then you definitely want to start that ball rolling at the moment. And now we have the time for you to be thinking about how you're going to do that and what areas exactly you want to move into. And it, it really comes down to just getting as much flight time close up or on stage as possible. And at the moment, it's being aware of when comedy, variety, and cabaret clubs are opening up again in your area, and reaching out to them and saying, hey, listen, I'm this guy, I've been doing this stuff, and I want to come in because I can do this for you. And tell them what you can do for them and go in. And, you might only get 5 minutes the first time, but it's 5 minutes more than you had before. And the money might not be great, but I've done all these dreadful, $100 gigs over the years. But without them, I wouldn't be where I am now. So like, it's all part of the, it's part of the journey. And you'll learn so much. It's not about the money at that point. It's about genuine experience and the training that you get from those environments. What the kids and the people that are heckled you are like 20 years older. I don't know what you mean by that. Are like 20 years older, as in 20 years older than me.
Yes. So that comment comes from one of my regulars here in the shop. He's been doing magic for a couple years. And so he is performing for a little bit older audience, friends, family, and just people he runs into. So.
Right. Okay. I would say things like people say, people are heckling you. I'd be like, dude, people say respect your elders, but it's very difficult with people like you in the audience. Like, I don't know. Like, I would just, again, you don't want to be in a position where you're being heckled by people. If you're performing for your friends and family, then they've got a very different attitude and mindset towards you as an individual. Like, the only time I perform to my family and friends now is when they come and see the show. And like my dad flew to Vegas for my bachelor party back in November. And I dragged him. I didn't tell the audience it was my dad, but I did bring him up on stage for one of the routines that I do in the show, and had him as one of the 4 guys standing on stage, just because that was just fun and playful and a very.
And you knew everything about him, so.
It wasn't for a routine like that. It was I do a version of like finding a hidden engagement ring. But it was funny because I was left with 2 guys on stage, and one of them was like being really quite abrasive, and I just I had my dad left on my left side, this huge American guy on my right side, and he was just like shouting, and I was like, I turned and went, stop, you are not my real dad. And I just slowly turned and looked to my left to the guy who was my real dad, and my entire bachelor party just like, burst out laughing in the mirage watching that. But yeah. As far as being heckled by family members, look, it's a very different environment you're performing in. And I'll be honest and say it's the toughest environment you'll probably ever perform in. So if you can hold your own there, and if you can tolerate what it is that's happening there, if it's tougher to perform with big groups of family because they do start, being loud or like trying to jump in, maybe perform for smaller groups at a time in your family so that they don't feel that there needs to be that dynamic socially where they need to be playing up as much, and you're showing them stuff that feels more intimate and more for them. So I'd maybe recommend doing that. And if you do that enough individually for them, then when you get to doing stuff for bigger groups of your family and friends, then they're going to be more willing to invest in what it is you're showing them. I think that's the best way to approach it. But if you can't hold your own there now, honestly, every performance will make you stronger and better. And I know that's tough for friends and family, but you will eventually break through and get there.
And I think that's one of the things too I can reiterate the fact that yes, it is difficult to perform for people that you know personally, because they know who you are long before you started doing magic, and so they already know what you're capable of. So they're the toughest to make them believers that you are really doing something amazing.
Yeah.
And once you can overcome that hurdle, then it gets so much easier. So. I mean, but it is a struggle to get past that point. So.
Yep. Zach asked there about pre-show in real time, and I'm assuming this is all just magicians watching this right now.
90%, yeah, yep.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to that, like, I don't enjoy pre-show mainly because, like, how someone is before a show is different to how they are during a show. And whether that's because between the show and the pre-show, sorry, with pre-show and the show, they've been drinking more. They might be pretty drunk by the time you go to perform. Even in the Mirage, like, you know, I don't do my main act until 40 minutes in. And at that point, someone could be wasted. So, like, I just don't like it. So, like, I basically rely on real-time ways of obtaining information from people. Is just the truth. And that's why, just from being burned so many times by bad spectators, and I feel like there are enough good methods that you don't need to rely on that. And I would rather take the risk of using the method than getting a bad participant later on stage. So yeah.
Very cool. That's actually kind of interesting from my perspective, and a little bit refreshing too, knowing your act and some of the things that you do in your show, to the best of my memory, that most of that, if not all of it, is real time.
Yeah. I mean, I have a teddy. I don't have the do I have? I think my teddy's packed away at the Mirage, but I have a teddy and I throw it out, and people are picked at random. And yeah, that's Again, the methods that I use are fooling. So, like, there's never any. It's tough to talk about this without being able to show you exactly what it is I mean, but I just feel like my personality hides the methods anyway. Like, people just forget that, like, I'm obtaining stuff in certain ways. So, but I think it comes down to you being just, knowing who you are as a performer, and that carrying the performance, not the tricks. It's about the interaction with you and the person. That's the important part.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure what this is about. Maybe you can answer this one here.
So this was the several Adam Awards. Congratulations, thank you. Anything like sharing those categories? I mean, so basically this was the guy I mentioned, Adam Shire, who kindly nominated or voted the show. It's the #1 virtual magic show online, because that's where virtual magic shows take place. But again, I think the big things that I have learned, #1 is that you want to create magical moments happening in people's houses, in their homes. And you don't want the magic. You don't just want to be sitting, the magic happening here, because then you're just watching Netflix. You need to be actively engaging people. I mean, obviously, there's two parts, right? You want to get the highest quality show you can. And I mean quality both in how it looks and the quality in the material that you're doing. And yes, there are only so many tricks that can perhaps be done online, but you want to find your own way of presenting them. I also, like I said, the download that I'm about to release is all about how to reimagine the way that you do perform the magic that you do online, so that it's even more amazing for your audiences. It's more streamlined, and you're able to create really impossible things. But with regards to the show, I mean, it's really a case of watching a bunch of YouTube videos and learning how to get the right lighting, camera angles, and audio. Content-wise, it's all about you deciding what type of show is it you're trying to convey. Is it just an entertaining 45-minute, 60-minute show where people are amazed? And I always feel like that's the danger of being a magician, is that your show is basically you over and over again saying, aren't I amazing? How amazing I am. Let me be more amazing. It's like, I think there needs to be more to it than that. You need to be engaging people. There needs to be something in it for them. Especially with mentalism, because mentalism is very much like, I am the guy who can do this stuff, strap in and get ready for it. And so it's like, I had to find ways of really making these things happen with people. And mentalism is about people. So thankfully, in that, from that point of view, that really helps the mentalism already be strong, is that I've always needed people. So I then just had to create methods where I didn't want to be the guy that predicts stuff. It's very easy to predict stuff in this format. I wanted to be the guy that could read minds in this format. And that's very different, to find ways to, deduce and
extract real time, essentially.
Exactly. Because what I didn't want to do was have a very different persona online to live. I very much wanted it to be a more personalized, a more meaningful, a more present and relevant interaction for those people. And that's why I try and keep the show to only like 25 people per show, so that I use every single person and everyone feels a part of it. There was the option of going Ticketmaster route and, potentially selling to 1,000 people like I do at the Edinburgh Festival or the Mirage. And I think the only way I would want to do that is if Shane and I decided to do a show together, because then we would do more duo stuff. And that would be more interesting and appealing in that regard. But No, for now, I love that it's very intimate. It is a very personal show, and it's allowed me to create a bunch of material that now companies are booking me to perform at their events, multiple
Sure.
times a week.
Sure. I actually have a corporate show coming up on the 8th here, and it's very soon. And I was met with so many new challenges because it's a virtual show,
Mhm.
but I can't actually see or talk to my audience.
Wow. Wow.
So there's going to be a few people in the room that I can pull from and draw from.
Okay.
And so that helps a little bit. But again, it goes back to that same thing of Eric Jones. How do you validate that these people are not part of it? So
Yeah.
again, it's just going to be for that. It's going to have to just be visual moments and trust that they're enjoying it, and react myself as if I'm in the audience and enjoying it just as much.
Yeah. Yep. I think the fact that you have them there is great. Will everyone else know who those people are?
Yeah.
In the company.
Probably not.
Okay.
Because it's really a fundraising event for Feeding South Dakota.
Okay. Wow.
So they're reaching the entire state.
Yeah, amazing. I think the fact that, people appreciate, I think, anything that's happening in this medium right now, where they do feel like they are witnessing something that's happening just for them. So as long as you still are able to reference the people at home, is there any way of them connecting with you? Like, is there Messenger like this, or
there'll be marketing teams and techs there, and I can ask for comments and stuff, which is going to be great because for every comment, like another company is donating X amount of dollars per comment.
Yeah. Well, I would literally, like, for example, I know I poo-pooed the invisible deck, but like one thing would be everyone right now type either the word red or black into the comments, go. And everyone watching will type red or black, and then they measure up which one gets more votes.
Yeah.
Red, cool. Hearts or diamonds, everyone type. And like if everyone's donating per comment, then I would like literally have, a routine where it's, I mean, if I knew that, I wouldn't totally abuse it, but I would certainly a few times in the show utilize that. But you also want, like, people want to be a part of something like this. I know that people are good, black, perfect. Black for clubs. But we'll just jump to the end. But people do want to take part. People do want to engage. Like, even right here, right now, like people watching this, the fact that comments are there, just like in an ideal world, we would all be in like, and it's tough with different formats and stuff to broadcast it to like, a Facebook page and whatnot. But like the ideal would be that everyone's sitting here, we're chatting, you and I are leading it, and then people can jump in as well. And I know it gets tricky and messy, but the fact that there are still at least the comments, people I hope feel like this is for them. Like I'm not talking about this stuff anywhere else. This is for you guys. And that's why every show that you do should feel like it's just for them.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't want to keep you much longer. I just have a couple more things for you.
It's great. Wait, my wife texted me to say that our Uber Eats is 5 minutes away. So this is perfect timing.
All right, perfect. So real quick, what is it like for you? Everybody talks about as a performer, they want a Vegas show. Is it really much different than a show that you would host anywhere else? I mean, obviously your audience is already there.
It's certain. Right, okay. There's the Illusionists, and then there's the Vegas show. Mm-hmm. The Illusionist was great for a while, but the novelty of touring very quickly wears off. And if you want to go touring with a company like that, it's the dream job. You're going to play to anywhere from 2,000 to 8,000 people per night, and that is epic. But that's 30 minutes of your day. You've then got 23 hours and 30 minutes away from your life, your home, your family, your pets, your kids. You've then got to work out how do you cope with that. And like I said, for a few years, it was great when I was younger and single and didn't have any real responsibilities. It was great to tour and just be like, this is great to explore the world. And I had a ball. The novelty wears off. And then I was very lucky that Chloe Crawford, or Chloe Cloud, she's slightly transitioning at the moment that name. We met on the run up to Broadway. We performed on Broadway together, and I'm very lucky that my wife is a very proficient magician, performer, dancer, model, cinematographer, choreographer, writer, inventor as well. So it's great that we have so much in common. It also has its challenges where we butt heads on things, but it's great that we both have our own passions and our own direction and vision. When we met and then, we got engaged, and I knew that I wanted to settle down and not be touring anymore because that wouldn't have worked. So I was just going to move back to Edinburgh or London. We were going to settle down there, and I would just do corporate shows. And then Shin said, because he got the residency,
Yeah.
We had toured New Zealand together for a few months. We did Broadway together, and he said, "Look, I want this to be you and I." And I was like, "Do you want me to open for you?" Because it's like, great. He was like, "No. I want it to be you, then me, then you, then me, then stuff together, then you, then me, then us together again." And the stuff together was tougher to write because I was flying back and forward to do the shows.
Sure.
Now that we had time to actually write duo acts, the new show, and when the show goes back, anyone that saw it before, they're going to see a whole load of new magic in that show. So I love that we are settled down. I love that I am in one place. I love that I have a home, that I can see my pets every day, that I can see my wife every day. I should have said my wife before the pet. But I love that we're here, and I love that we have, Shin 10, 15 minutes away in the car. I love that we go to do the show, that we come home. So I more love that side of it. Like, the grass isn't always greener. And if anyone's thinking, I want to go tour, great. Like, go strive for it and go make it happen. But if you then decide it's not for you, then don't feel bad that you want to change your mind. I think life is all about evolving constantly and finding new things that make us feel fulfilled. Otherwise, we get bored, we get apathetic, and then it's just pointless.
Yeah.
So, and time is fleeting. Like, if I've realized anything right now, it's that time has never gone slower and faster all at once, right?
Yeah.
I still think we're in the month of March. I have no idea when it actually
No, we are. Nothing has happened at all.
Yeah, no, cool. This is a bad dream. I'm living the Black Mirror Twilight Zone episode. But I love that we're here. I love that I still occasionally fly out. Like I said, there's corporate things coming in where I'll maybe fly to Florida or to LA. And I love that I can bounce around and do those things. But ultimately, I'm just glad that I'm in one place. I'm delighted that it's Vegas. I'm delighted that it's a show with Shin Lim, one of my best friends. And I'm delighted that he and I have full creative control over what it is we do. And we trust each other to know the stuff we put on that stage is what made it the #1 magic show. I don't know if it is now, but it was the #1 magic show on Yelp in Vegas, which is mind-blowing because the quality here is so high.
Our comments are getting out of hand.
Wow.
That's a live of virtual. So last thing for you, very, very last thing, I promise. Are you continuing to do your virtual shows, and for how long?
So the virtual shows, there are dates up until the later. I forget. Middle of July at least, only because I know that we need to start going into the Mirage to start teching new things.
Sure.
And also there are some pretty prolific magicians coming to watch it on the 11th. And that was a date when they could make it. So I was like, well, I definitely want to make sure there's a show that night. So So they'll be coming to watch it that night. I mean, last weekend I had, Piff the Magic Dragon, Shin watched it, Neil Patrick Harris was there, Eric Mead.
I seen your screenshot of that. That was really cool to see. So
Yeah. And the feedback was just wonderful. So I'm delighted the show has been going this while. I think, obviously, I am more drawn to live performances. I don't think I ever plan on sticking to just working from home in this room.
Sure.
I'll do it whilst the challenge still feels right and fun. But that's why I'm happy to release my work on this medium early, because if it stuff that I do live, I'll never release, because I just know that I want to take that to the grave with me, or I'll get to the point where I teach 3 people it when I'm older, and they will have the right to use it forever. But with this stuff, I feel like I don't want to do this forever online. I'm delighted that I have the feedback has been that I'm #1 at it.
Yeah.
But also I want to share what I've learned with people so that we can now start raising the bar, so that we're not all just doing the same stuff, so that we're growing, developing, and making sure that magic online is still as diverse as live shows should be.
Very good. So when is your next live cyber show?
So tomorrow at 1 p.m., but it's sold out now. And tomorrow at 7 p.m., which I think still has 5 tickets left. But I also occasionally on social media drop by and just put a 10-minute warning and say, if anyone's around, I'm going to do a free tester session. And I often just post that and I delete the post afterwards. But I now work with Theory 11. So we are currently working on the movie Now You See Me 3. So I've been writing that with them at the moment. So my days are taken up with writing Now You See Me 3, working on the new show with Shin, doing Zoom shows, exercising, feeding cats, hanging out with Chloe, and also developing new tricks for Theory 11. So there's a bunch of good stuff on the go.
Very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, when I get off of here, when this stream ends, I'm going to go to that 7 p.m. show. I'm going to purchase a ticket, and I'm going to give it to somebody here.
Oh, no. I will give you a ticket. So you pick someone for the 7 p.m. show, and they are my welcome guest tomorrow night for them and their family, whoever's in their house or can safely socially distance, come and watch. They are more than welcome. Okay?
Perfect. I will get their email from them, and I will send it to you via email, and then you can connect with them. Does that work?
Perfect. Send it over tonight. We'll get that sorted, okay?
All right. So you guys make sure to like all the social streams there of Colin's, so that way you can stay aware of all of his shows, all of his times, all the things like that. Show him much love for that, because I am greatly, eternally grateful for your time.
Yeah, I hope this is good. I know there are other questions coming in on like philosophy on stuff, and that's like a much deep dive on things. But I truly hope that this has been of value to people. I get that an hour of your time is like, I don't know how many people are watching, but if there's even 5 people there, that's 5 hours of someone like collectively of lifetime for people. So thank you for investing that here. Thank you for having me. I hope there was something of benefit. If not, people can email me. I try my best to email back, but just my days are like crazy busy at the moment, but I will always get back to you, maybe just not right away.
Sure.
But genuinely, thank you for having me. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for your kind words, and everyone else, stay safe and stay strong. And I look forward to meeting you all in real life very, very soon.
All right. Thank you very much, Colin. You have a good night and enjoy your food.
Everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, everybody. That was Colin Cloud. Super cool. It was nice to get that insight of what he had. And we are going to give away a ticket. So if you want to win a ticket to the show tomorrow night, comment right now. Let me know that you want to win a ticket. Now, if I remember right, when I purchased one, this is like a $40 ticket that Colin is being so generous to give away to you guys. So comment right now if you want to win. I will randomly pick somebody. And as soon as I choose that winner, if that was you, we only have 8 people watching right now. A lot of them had dropped off in this later hour. And so, yeah, we're going to give away that ticket. So there's been about 8 or 9 other people that have left and are no longer watching. So the odds just went in your favor. Zach definitely wants to win that, or he's just really excited about me or the stream, or I don't know what he's excited about. I'm guessing a ticket. So yeah. So yes, that is a very good show. David's in it. Dan, Zach, very cool. Brett, all right. Awesome. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do, actually. Let's, just to keep it fair, I'm going to type in everybody here that would like to win. So, of course, we have Zach. We have David. We have Brett. Dan. And Brian. There you go. Keep it coming. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that want to win. We have 3 others on here that are apparently don't want to win. So if you want to win, comment right now. Let me know, and I'll put you on the list. All right. So I'm going to grab a dice just really quick. I'm going to roll that dice, whatever number that is. I'm going to count down and see who wins. So let me turn down my brightness here so you guys can see that. There's my camera. So there's the names right there in the reflection of the camera. So there's the names. I'm going to grab a dice, and we're going to roll that and pick the winner. All right. So we have a little tiny miniature dice right here. How am I going to do this? All right. So I'm going to do this on the cards here so you can see what is happening. All right. So the dice is going to go there just like that. I'll put my hand on it and shake it. Okay. Now, if it is a 6, we'll roll again because I've only got 5 people. And we have a 2 right there. So the second name on that list is David. David just won free tickets, or a free ticket. Now, the cool thing about this, the ticket is good for the entire people in the household during the show. So you can have a whole viewing party, and Colin will interact with you guys. I can't talk highly enough of this show. So David, shoot me a message on whatever platform you're watching. It looks like Facebook. You're watching on Facebook. So shoot me a message here at my Spellbound page. I will get that. Awesome. David is the winner, and he acknowledged and claimed that ticket. Shoot me a message. I will get your email and info, and I will send that directly to Colin, and he will be in touch to give you a ticket to the 7 p.m. show. Now, I believe that is Vegas time. Maybe he went Central. I'm not quite sure which one that is, but you'll see all that info there. Matter of fact, I can pull this up. So it is the Cyber Mentalist. Let's see. Here we go. And I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this of where we want to go on that. All right, so this is Colin's website for the Cyber Mentalist show. And a matter of fact, it's the same exact one that the store is at, so we can go right there. Let's see where we get tickets here. On sale now. There we go. That is 7 p.m. Pacific time. And let's see here. So tomorrow night, these here are his remaining shows. So it looks like he goes until July 11th right now. So this is where you can get it. The tickets are $40. So we're looking for June 27th, 7 p.m. show right there. That is 7 p.m. Pacific time. So that will be 9 p.m. Central time, David. So hopefully you can make that, and I will get your information and send that to Colin tonight. Other than that, you guys, thank you very much for tuning in. It was a lot of fun talking to Colin. I'm also going to reach into him and ask to see if I can get Shin Lim on here because, you know, that's his connection, and hopefully he can help us out to get that. But don't forget, coming up July 15th, I do believe, July 15th, we have Master Magician Lance Burton joining us live right here on the Spellbound page on Facebook and YouTube. So definitely like, follow, share. And Lance Burton coming up live July 15th. So that is my stream. I want to thank you guys for watching and supporting me. And if there's anything you guys need, stop into the shop. And if you're not local, shoot me a message and I can get you set up with anything that you'd like. And I can drop ship directly to you as well. So thank you guys very much, and you have a good evening.